So, welcome back to my channel. Firstly, a big thank you to each and every one of you for coming back to this channel, for the amount of views I've got, the likes, the comments, the shares, the subscribes, and most importantly, the support that you guys have given me. 2023 has been the year with a lots of ups and downs, and throughout this year, I've had such lessons that I've had to learn. Some of them were good, some of them were harsh truths which I had to acknowledge and accept. So I tried as much as possible to talk about the 5 most impactful lessons in my life which have changed my life and which I'm pretty sure will change your life. I have tried to put them in 5 different buckets. So the first one being identity, the second one being people, the third one being success, fourth one being life, and the fifth one being the attitude. So why have I put them in these 5 buckets and what are those lessons? Tune in to find out. So the first most important lesson that I've learned is around identity, is around who you are as a person. And it is actually a problem which is explained by a quote from Charles Horton Cooley. He had written this quote in the 19th century, and the quote goes like, "I am not who I think I am. I am not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am." And that is the problem that we are facing in today's time. We live in a perception of ourselves. We try to associate who we are based on what we think that the other person thinks that we are. And I think we have to understand that we play a role at our office, we play a role at our college, we play a role at our school, we play a role with our friends, we play a role with our colleagues. And while we are playing this role, we lose ourselves and we feel like we are that role. We try to be someone that our colleagues will like us. We try to be someone that our friends will like us. And we forget who we actually are. So it's very important to understand who you are independently of everybody else. And I think even if you don't know who you are as a person, you don't need to find yourself. It's very tough to find yourself, but what is more easier is to create yourself. So try creating yourself based on the qualities that you have liked in your friends, the qualities that you have seen in your colleagues, in your teachers, in your parents. And maybe a collection of those qualities is someone who you can become. And I think being this person and finding yourself and creating yourself, I think is one of the most important lessons that I have learned. So I think the next big thing that I've learned is based on the impact on the people. So how do you create an impact on people? It starts with communication. So I think the lesson that I have learned is based on this. And that is, the essence of communication is not what you say in the way that you speak. Rather, the essence of communication is the humility to speak in the way that they hear it. And I think a lot of people talk about the fact that communication is key and communication can solve all the problems. But what I believe is that comprehension and understanding is key. Sometimes you can communicate all you want. You can have as many talks as you want, but if that other person is not able to understand you, there is no point of having that communication. And I think when you can understand how somebody hears something and speak not in the way that you speak, but in the way that they listen, that is how you actually communicate. So the next lesson comes in the bucket of success. What people don't realize that it is not about the success. Rather, it is the person you become in order to get that success. And I think most of the people do not get that success is because they are too attached to who they have been all this while that they are not able to grow and become someone else. And a lot of the times, a lot of negative thoughts keep on running in your mind again and again and again. And I think the biggest thing that you have to realize is when you make a mistake, whatever you did is not who you are. Whatever you repeatedly do is who you become. And I think if you want to stop the negative thoughts in your head, something that I've learned is a 3S policy, which is the spot, stop, swap policy. And how does it work? First, when you have a negative thought, you have to be able to spot it first. Then you stop it. You have to consciously be able to stop it. You can't just magically think that it's going to stop one day. And then the third action is to swap it with a better thought. So whether it's an action, whether it's a thought that you are having in your head, the first important action is spot it, then you stop it, and then you swap it with a better thing. Success becomes an identity. Success comes based on who you become as a person. And I think so many people are so stuck in the past of whatever they've done in the past that even their future, which is supposed to be based on their future, but their future is also based on their past mistakes, on their past failures, on their past incidents. And so it is so important to understand your identity. And that is why I spoke about your identity in the first part of it. I think I read this somewhere in the Atomic Habits, where there were two kids and both of them were accused of stealing something. The first one was asked, "Why did you steal this?" And he said, "I did not steal this." And then the second one was asked, "Why did you steal this?" And he said, "I do not steal." I think you have to understand the difference between the two. The first one becomes an action. I did not steal this. I did not steal that. I did not do this. I did not do that. But the second one becomes an identity. I do not steal. And I think success is based on that, where you create your identity and you are so firm and you so firmly believe into all your ideologies that I don't think anyone can shake you apart. That is when you get success. Coming to the next big lesson that I've learned, it is based on life. How do you approach life? I think life can be very hard and it can knock you down on your knees and keep you there if you let it. So I think a lot of people, rather than dealing with the fear, they start dealing with the fear of fear rather than dealing with the actual fear itself. So the fear of fear is what you call anxiety, and that is what people are dealing with. So let's take an example. If I'm jumping off a cliff with a parachute on and say I'm about to jump off the cliff, then that is the actual fear when I'm just about to jump. But if I'm not being able to sleep for the last 2 days because I'm about to jump off the cliff, that is the fear of fear, which is anxiety. And I think people have to understand that when you are keeping on thinking about this, that is what gives you anxiety. More thinking will always give rise to more thinking, but more actions will always give rise to more clarity. So see it this way. If you have a problem, say suppose there's a problem in front of you and you decide to deal with that problem a little later. By the time you come back to that problem has become so big and the clarity on that problem is so less. But when you face a problem and now you decide to get some clarity or learn about that problem and you go back and read about that problem and how do you solve that problem, by the time you come back, the clarity on the problem is so big and the problem in and of itself is so small. And I think this has been the biggest lesson that I've learned on how to approach life. I think the next big lesson, which I have kept with me throughout since the very beginning of 2023, and I've learned it from my own best friend, it is the attitude of gratitude. I think a lot of people don't understand this, but there is a power that gratitude gives you. And that is that there can never be any negative thoughts that you feel when you are experiencing gratitude. When you are experiencing genuine gratitude in its truest form, negative thoughts cannot exist on its side. And I think that has been the biggest lesson for me personally. And what a lot of people actually have a lot of gratitude, but what they don't realize is that true gratitude can be only experienced in its purest form when it is expressed. So whoever has helped you out, whoever has made you feel that gratitude for them, it's very important to express it to that person. And you can't just express it in a way like, I can't just be like, thank you so much, because that is not personalized. Gratitude should be expressed in a way that it is targeted only to one person and it cannot be sent to 20 other people by them feeling the same way about you. It should be so personalized. Like, see, think of it as in this way. Like, say, suppose there are some friends who came to my house for a party, and say one of them just says something like, "Thank you so much, Anish, for the party. It was great." But say, suppose there is another person who comes to me and says, "Thank you so much, Anish, for the party. The food was great. The games that we played together was so fun. It was so fun connecting with each and every one of you. And it was so nice to meet your parents, to meet your friends who I had not met before." Which one of these two is going to actually what do you say, hit your strings? Which one of them is actually going to hit your strings? Obviously, it's going to be the second one. And I think that is what is important in our life, the attitude of gratitude. The moment you have gratitude, everything changes. You start becoming a much more humble person. So yeah, I think that was it for the video. Do let me know what you think about these 5 lessons. Do let me know if you have learned any lessons in 2023 that you would like to share with the other people. Comment about it down below. I read each and every single comment of yours, and I'm so grateful for all of you guys, starting with gratitude and ending with gratitude. So thank you so much for staying tuned till the very end of this video. See you later.